Lucy, thank you for the opportunity to just to share a few words about my journey and really what inspired me to be the man that I am today. When I look in the mirror, I see someone who spent a quarter of his life in state prison, 6 years to be exact, for an act that nearly cost a man his life. But if I'm being honest, what got me from prison to Columbia University and standing before you all today, it wasn't the punishment I faced as a teenager in adult prison or the harshness of our legal system. Instead, it was the learning environment of a unique classroom that introduced me to something I didn't think was possible. My life was changed the day that I walked into Lucy's college program inside the Queensboro Correctional Facility. The course was called Inside Criminal Justice. And for all of us, and even those who are listening, this might seem pretty much straightforward, but it was actually the complete opposite. It turns out that the class would be made up of 16 students, 8 incarcerated men, and 8 assistant district attorneys. Now, when I walked into this room, I assumed that all the prosecutors in the space would be white, but to my surprise, they were Black, they were Latinx, and they were multi-gendered prosecutors in the room. But I think over the course of the semester, what we learned together was really the lived experiences and what helped shape the individual lives that were presented in that classroom. So for me personally, it was really like me walking back through the steps of my life and all of the challenges and obstacles I had to overcome, and ultimately my incarceration. And if I walk through my life and the amount of exposure of violence in my neighborhood and even the household violence as my mother suffered through a domestic violence relationship, all of those things kind of influenced the decisions that I make. And it led to me committing the worst mistake in my life, where in an incident where I was trying to protect my sister, I took things to the extreme that the man was deeply, seriously injured. But all of those things in my past and even the challenges that I overcame, they don't define my future. And as I stand before you today, I do aspire to become a United States Senator, specifically representing New York State, as New York has never had an African-American person represent them in Congress as a senator. And in U.S. history, there's only ever been 10 Black U.S. senators. So I want to add to that narrative. I want to really empower communities that come from a long history with mass incarceration to be the change makers that they desperately need in these communities. And no, you don't have to do it through politics and government, but it's really just thinking about how you can contribute in a meaningful way to make a societal change. But I really want to highlight the fact that the prosecutors who joined the Inside Criminal Justice course, this was an eye-opening moment for them as well. As you can assume, the institutions that we attend, the law schools and undergraduate institutions, much of the way that they condition and train our minds to think is in the, potentially the role that we're going to step into. But sometimes we forget about the human aspect of it. We forget about challenges and we forget about environmental circumstances that influences the way young people or people in general develop. And I think that what this course was able to do outside of the theoretical frameworks that we addressed in the course and outside of the collaboration with prosecutors in the course, what we really learned, the most meaningful part of it, is that people develop differently based on the opportunities and resources that are readily available to them. So I would say that I was honestly fortunate and privileged to be in the right place at the right time, but really it was Lucy's bravery and courage and her innovative idea that she took before Cy Vance to launch the Inside Criminal Justice course. And Lucy had never give credit, so it's up to people like me to really give the credit where it's due. This is the first time in United States history where a prosecutor has actually encouraged their office to send representatives from the DA's office inside of a state prison to work with the incarcerated population for over a semester-long period. And for it to not just be a one-off kind of thing, Lucy is continuing to launch these different cohorts and different facilities. So the program has expanded since then. But this idea of bringing prosecutors in close proximity with those who are directly responsible for committing offenses in the community and allowing their ideas and expertise to inform policy recommendations. Lucy, again, I just got to mention, like, this is historic. And again, you're going to make history again when you're appointed as the Manhattan District Attorney. You're going to be the first woman that steps into that role. And we need women leaders. Society won't acknowledge it, but sometimes the best person for the job is a woman. It's time for men to really stand aside and allow the leadership and guidance of women to shape the societal conditions that we're living through. And really, the reason why I really stand behind Lucy is her bravery and her commitment. She didn't wait till she was an elected official to lead this progressive wave of change for district attorneys. She convened work groups, trainings, hosted programmers, developed reentry programs and services. She's instrumental in the work that she's been doing since before she even decided to lead a campaign to become an elected district attorney. So I would say that my reasoning behind supporting Lucy is not for her aspirations and what she wants to do when she becomes. It's for the work that she's already done and that she'll continue to do whether she's elected as a Manhattan District Attorney or not. That's the reason why I'm supporting Lucy Lang for Manhattan District Attorney. And that's the reason why I encourage other people, especially those who have had similar experiences as me, to stand behind the Lucy Lang campaign. And I guess that's really what I wanted to offer to the conversation.